In this video, you'll learn 2 fast applique methods to use when making 6-inch blocks for your sampler quilt. I'll be using this heart pattern that you can download for free at learnhowtoquilt.com under Free Patterns. A heart's a good shape for learning applique because it gives you a chance to deal with different challenges such as straight lines, curves, crevices, and points. Raw edge refers to a type of applique where the edges are not turned under, like in this heart block. You can use a fusible product on your raw edges to make those edges adhere a little bit better. You'll learn about each of these methods today, and then in the next video I'll show you another easy applique technique where the edges are turned under for a clean finish. There are many ways to transfer your pattern to fabric, but I think this is the easiest. Glue your shape to a scrap of cardboard and then cut it out. Of course, you can always go with the old-fashioned way of making a heart where you fold the cardboard, draw half of the shape, and then cut it out. Place your shape on the back of your pressed fabric face down and then trace around it. I have this sewing machine fabric here, and I really like to line up some of these sewing machines in my heart, but it's hard to see using this pattern on cardboard. So sometimes I like to use template plastic to make my pattern because I can see through to the fabric on the other side. I like maybe these 2 sewing machines to be in each side of the heart, and that looks pretty good. And I'll trace around this fabric. I'm using a pen so you can see, but you'll want to use some sort of marking pencil. Cut out the shape, making sure to stay inside the line and cutting off that pencil or pen line. Cut a 6.5-inch square of background fabric and then fold it and press. Center your heart on the folded line and pin. Stitch around the heart. I'm using a little bit longer straight stitch, about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. You want to slow down when you get to the curve. Sew a few stitches, needle down, lift up my pressure foot, pivot a little, sew a few stitches, needle down, lift up my pressure foot, pivot a little. Pivoting helps prevent your fabric from bunching up. And I'll continue in this manner until I get to the crevice. I want to slow down when I come to the crevice, which is about right here. I'll take 1 stitch, my needle down. Let me check and see if I pivot, will I be about 1/8 of an inch, and it looks like that's going to be okay. Oh, I think I can maybe go one more. I'm going to pivot and come back out a few stitches, pressure foot up, pivot. When you get to the point, you want to slow down, pressure foot up, pivot, and continue sewing. Let's get this string out of the way. When you get to the end, you want to lock your stitches. And there's my completed heart. Another type of raw edge applique involves using a lightweight double-sided fusible on the back of the fabric. When using a fusible, the edges of your applique won't come up or ravel like they eventually will when not using a fusible. It's also easier to stitch around these edges as you don't have to worry about pinning. As a matter of fact, you can probably get by without stitching around the edges as long as you don't plan on washing your quilt or your wall hanging. Fusible comes in a pack of sheets or by the yard. Each has a set of directions that talks about the ironing times, so be sure to keep these handy. No matter what brand you purchase, all fusibles have a paper side and a glue side. You'll be tracing your pattern on the paper side. Get in the habit of putting your pattern face down onto the paper to ensure proper pattern transfer. Just put this down and trace around the edge. This heart is symmetrical, so it really doesn't make a difference if I put the pattern down like this or like this. But many patterns aren't symmetrical, like this elephant. So if I wanted my elephant to turn out like this, and I place the right side of the pattern like this to trace, my elephant would turn out looking in the opposite direction. So if I want my elephant to look like this, I need to remember to put my pattern face down and then trace. You'll end up with an elephant facing in the right direction. Rough cut about 1/4 inch all the way around your heart. Make sure your fabric's been pressed and remove any strings or lint. You'll want to place your pattern on the back side of your fabric. Make sure to stay away from the selvage. Press according to your product's directions. Cut out your shape. I like to make sure I'm cutting off the drawn line. Use a pin to make a slit to help you tear off the paper. And there's my fusible applique. I lined up my heart with the center line in my fabric, and I'm ready to press. Sometimes I use a pressing cloth to make sure I don't get any glue on my iron, but it's not necessary. Here's my completed applique. When stitching on the fusible applique, you can use a straight stitch or a decorative stitch, but you still want to put your needle down and pivot every few stitches so as not to scrunch up your fabric. Fusible applique can become addictive. It's fun to add it to a plain project to jazz it up a little. You can also use applique to patch over any mistakes, like here where I accidentally cut through the backing. I covered it up with an applique and no more mistakes. When you learn to applique, you can tackle just about any project. If you're interested in learning about other applique techniques, visit our Beginner Basics section. Scroll down to Other Techniques and click on Applique. You might also enjoy viewing the next video in this Saturday Sampler series. You'll learn an easy way to make circles using another applique method. Thanks for watching. Please share with your friends and let us know if there are any other techniques you'd like to see at LearnHowToQuilt.com.